Greetings and welcome to the Halloween edition of the Sliders Review. And I'm here today to talk to you about Ash vs. Evil Dead Season 2, Episode 1. So, things pick up a couple of maybe weeks or months after the last season picked up all. So, the gang's in Jacksonville. Ruby is in possession of the book and her kids. And so, all of a sudden, things don't go well. So, I have to say first, the DVD, I don't understand something. I bought Ash vs. Evil Dead, the complete series on Blu-ray. And for some bizarre reason, Season 2 will not work on my Blu-ray player. And at first, a long time ago when I bought this thing and I watched it, the first disc of Season 2 worked. The second one did not. After doing some searching and researching online, it turns out other people had the same problem. I don't know what it is. It's something about updating something on your Blu-ray. So I updated. Nothing worked. And so I had to buy individually the second season on DVD. And which really bugged me. So then about a year later, I decided to rewatch the second season. And now neither disc on the Blu-ray will work. And a long time ago, the first disc used to work. So thankfully, I still had the DVD of the second season. But yeah, just one of those things you want to keep in mind as you buy the Blu-ray. You're gonna have to buy Season 2 individually. I don't understand why that is. And they still sell it. And this has been going on for years, since 2017, that people have had this problem. And now it's in the 2020s. And it's just I don't understand why they haven't fixed this glitch in the DVD disc and stuff. But they're still selling it. And I just don't get it. So anyways, like I said before, it picks up. We see Ruby, she's running. And she has the book in hand. And who's chasing her? Her kids. They are now all grown up and they want her dead for some reason. So she's fighting them with the book. Because apparently the book can shoot out concussion blast and stuff like that, and energy blast. Who knew? She has a new hairstyle and she's desperate because her kids just want her deader than dead. So there's only one person she can call, and she doesn't want to have to call him. It's Ash. So she uses a spell in the book to call Ash. And so Ash, he's in Jacksonville and he's living it up. People are loving him there, especially his chainsaw arm. And so he works at this beach bar, and Kelly and Pablo, they work there too. Pablo is he's happy, but of course Kelly is not because of what happened last season. And so Ash is the man now in that place. And like I said, people are loving him. There's this mother-daughter couple who wants to play with his chainsaw, all this stuff. Until the mother-daughter couple turn into deadites. Ash is confused. He tells them, look, we had a truce. And they told him, tell it to Ruby. So in order to contact him, she sent deadites there. And then this is when all the fun happens. Huge battle between Ash, Pablo, Kelly, and the Deadites, and it lasts for a good long chunk. There's blood everywhere. He's cutting them up, they're hacking them up. Kelly is just chopping them up with an axe. There's just blood spewing everywhere. The people in the bar, they're freaking out, running, screaming. The dude who owns the bar, he's getting attacked by deadites. Kelly tries to save him by grabbing on his arms. And then all you see, they eat him up, and all you see is just literally just the man's arms in Kelly's hands. So Ash is he's chainsawing them up and everything like that. But before he kills one of them decides to sing a song. And the song is Ashy Slashy, cut up his friends and stuff like that. He then now knows where Ruby is at and where the deadites are at, because there's only certain people who know that song. People in his hometown after the events of the movies and stuff. So he kills the last deadite, and then he tells his friends that he has to find Ruby, find out why she's doing this, so they can hurry and get back to Jacksonville. He makes a racist comment about like Pablo and like where he's from and these drinks and stuff like that. And then they head to where Ash grew up, his hometown and stuff. So as they're driving around in like Ash's old town, I have to say, this is still filmed in New Zealand, but it actually looks like an old country hick, country bumpkin like American town. It truly does and stuff. From the buildings and the roads and like this and that. Like it was starting to make me think, are they like on a lot set? But no, they're just in the actual town that looks like that. Cause like normally like when you look at like buildings in New Zealand, they don't look all that American. Their color different, their shape slightly different. There's a different like look and feel, basically, Cause when they were doing the whole Jacksonville thing, I looked at that and I'm like, yeah, that's not Florida. That don't look like Florida. That don't look like Jacksonville. That don't look like a beach. Florida type beach. It just doesn't look like. I can tell they was in New Zealand. Even in season 1, when they went to like the woods and stuff, I'm like, yeah, that's New Zealand and stuff. But here, like it looks like an old country, but it looks like a Hollywood movie set type thing. And so like, there's a bunch of creepy kids. They're like in the streets. Now, when it comes to Pablo this season, he is starting to have visions. See, he was trying to write something, he was trying to draw something on like a paper, and then he ended up drawing like this demonic face looking thing, and he doesn't understand why. And like, and if he's not drawing it, he'll just see it appear somewhere. The thing is, has something to do with the Book of the Dead cover being on his face in last season and possessing him and stuff. So Ash tells like Kelly and them to wait in the car. He's at his house. Kelly thinks his old house is a crack house. Oh, Kelly, I swear about her in a sharp tongue. So he tells them just to wait in the car. It's raining. His parents are no longer there because they're dead. He goes inside and somebody has a gun pointed at him. And so it's Ash's dad. And Ash's dad, he's all like, you look old and bloated, son. And so, like, they get into like a conversation and stuff. And like, there's some tension between them two. Then Pablo and Kelly come in with their guns, and the dad turns around, and now we see where Ash is racist. He gets that from his dad. He asked Pablo, do you have your green card or you have your papers or something? Oh, God. See, if you're going to do a racist joke, at least make it funny like they do. Like, see, racist jokes, yeah, even though they're bad and stuff, it's like you can get away with it sometimes if it's really, really funny, but you don't have to use racial slurs. Like, that's when it just goes off the deep end and stuff. And so he's making racist jokes to Pablo, but of course he's hitting on Kelly, trying to get in her pants and stuff like that. And, and so him and Ash are having more of a heart to heart. Because his dad doesn't believe in demons. His dad thinks, like, he chopped up his friends and chopped up his sister. And he's all like, from the events of the movies and talking about, he tells Ash plain and simple, like, it's taking him decades to regain his reputation back in town because of what Ash did in the movies and stuff. Because the people in town don't believe Ash either. They just think he's crazy and stuff, and he wants his son like just to leave and stuff. And so before they leave, they ask, have you seen like this woman? So Pablo drew Ruby, and he just, Lord have mercy. It doesn't, Lord have mercy. Pablo. Lord have mercy. So before Pablo has his vision, Ash and them, they go to like an old like country bar. And there Ash is reunited with an old friend of his that he had a crush on named Linda. This is like the second Linda in the entire franchise, man. And this is actually the fourth person to play a person named Linda. Because in the movies, there's one particular Linda character, Ash's girlfriend, and it's played by three different women. And then they brought her back for season one as the head, and then of course now in season two there's a brand new Linda and everything. I'm just kind of like, why are like all his like girlfriends named Linda, and why does Ash always dress the same in nearly every episode? Like he doesn't change up his clothes and stuff. And so like yeah, so he's reunited with her, and she's happy to see him. She's the only person in town who doesn't hate him or fear him and stuff. But her husband is the sheriff, and her husband, he doesn't like Ash because Ash used to pick on him when they was like kids and stuff. And he doesn't like that Ash keeps like flirting with his wife and all this other stuff. And they have a kid. And that's the one I was telling you about, the one that just like died off screen halfway into the season. It was just like, what the world happened to her and everything. So it makes me do wonder what happened behind like the scenes, because like she was there and then and she was kidnapped, but then all of a sudden, boom, she like dies off screen, and she's never brought back. And she's not even brought back in like the ghost montage at the end of the season. So and so it's just kind of weird and stuff how she just like disappeared. And so like the people in town at the bar, boy, they do not like Ash whatsoever. But he has a cool phrase, like when they're just making fun of him and everything, he tells them straight up, like he's the boomstick butcher with the chainsaw arm and everything. I'm just like the way Bruce Campbell said that, man. It was just like so epic. Like only he could say like phrases like that and make it sound cool, which is why they call him the legend, you know. And the dude who plays like the sheriff, I recognize him big time. He played Hades in the Xena show. Originally, they had this one actor playing Hades, and then he was like an American actor or something, and then he ended up leaving halfway, and then they brought in like this new dude. And I just always remember thinking to myself, is this the same Hades? He looks different and he sounds different, and his build is like completely different. And so this dude, he's from New Zealand, and he does an American accent okay, but his New Zealand Kiwi voice always comes out when he does his voice. Like it's an American accent, but it just has like this tone in the back of his voice because his Kiwiness is coming out. So it was really cool to see him again, and cause he's pretty much in like all of like Sam Raimi and Rob Tappert's like projects and stuff for the most part, especially in the American stuff. Cause he was, like I said, he was in Xena and stuff. I don't think he played Hades and Hercules. Hades was played by a different character then. And then, but I mean, I used to always get confused because like first they brought in the American dude, then they brought in the New Zealand dude, and then when they did Young Hercules, they brought back the American dude. So I'm just like, why they keep changing him up and everything? So when they're in the street, they see like a homeless man, and he tells Ash, you know, you ruined my life, and Ash is all like, I ruined lots of people's lives and stuff. And then Pablo, he sees like he has a vision, cause you know, like he's tripping and stuff, and like that book really affected his mind to where it left some residual something in his brain and stuff. It's almost like they're one now. So like he can kind of see through like the book's eyes at times, and like he freaks out so bad he starts like ripping off the flesh of his face, and it's so disgusting. But then he sees Ruby in like a ghost-like state holding the book, and he tells Ash and them, and like he describes like the building in which she's like standing in front of and stuff. And Ash is all like, could only be one place in town, like the crematorium. So they head there. And this is when all the good, cool horror movie stuff starts happening. But first, we get a nice little montage of him suiting up. I gotta say, in the show, his montages when he suit up, they're just so hilarious. It's not as cool and epic as it is in the movie, but it's funny in the show. And so they head inside and they split up. And so like Now, of course, they get separated because like the Deadites are like trying to get them and stuff. And of course, Ruby's kids are all just like running around. So Ash is like doing his best like to fight like Ruby's kids. And so then he ends up finding Ruby herself. And so she's all like, oh, I need your help and everything. He's all like, well, screw you, lady, and stuff like that. But then she explains to him how the kids just went like nuts and like they want to kill her and they want the book and all this other stuff. So he puts the dagger all up in her face and she's terrified. Because, of course, this dagger is the only thing that can truly kill a Deadite. And so there's like just a huge battle going on between Ash and the kids. And they end up like taking Ruby. And the thing is, the prosthetics and the makeup of the kids is great. Like, they're so ghoulish looking. It's basically just their flesh painted in this grayish black tone. And like their faces, you can't see their eyes because they're blacking out, and they have these skull-like heads, and they're just so creepy looking. Like the makeup was done so good on them. And they have this ability to like disappear and smoke and climb up walls and contort their bodies and just like all that stuff. And they can talk too. And so like Ash, he just puts his chainsaw on one and he's like, does it hurt? And then he's like, well, does it? Because it's not affecting the Ruby's kids. He just has a big smirk on his face. And Ash is having a hard time like trying to like kill these things and stuff because they can regenerate within seconds. And so it's really interesting. Like before Pablo even rescued Kelly, right? He had this scene with one of Ruby's kids and he gets so scared and freaked out that he's just like hiding. And then the child like is near Pablo, but it can't see him. It can't even smell him. Pablo is holding on to an amulet of his, and for some reason, it makes him like invisible to like the demons and stuff. I don't understand that. So like with Kelly, they trap her down like in this cellar type thing, and like so she's just acting kind of like dumb and just like shooting the walls and everything, and like talking about yippee and then she starts seeing like the blood come from like the bullet holes, and she's like crap. So then it starts like the whole cellar starts filling with blood and like water. So like the next thing you know, like something drags her head down below, and then it turns out to be like her double, like a possessed like clone version of her, with black eyes, and talking about like Kelly, like why do you keep following Ash and you're the real leader and like crap like that, and it's trying to like kill her and stuff. And so she's like shooting like crazy, and like it's really just twisting and like messing with her mind and trying to get her to get away from Ash and stuff. And so next thing you know, like Pablo ends up like saving her and stuff. But like yeah, so they're like looking for Ash, and he's still fighting like Ruby's kids and stuff. And so like as Ruby got like taken by one of them, he's enjoying that's like they're torturing her and stuff. But then he does try to end up saving her because he feels bad and stuff. Plus he thinks she's hot. So and so like as he's still fighting, he uses like the dagger to kill like one of them. Or no, wait, no, he doesn't use the dagger to kill one of them. Ruby does, because Ash ends up getting his butt kicked. Yeah, that's right. He ends up getting his butt kicked, and he's about to die from one of them. And Ruby stabs it in the back with the dagger, which causes the other ones to like flee. And then it's like this really cool like disintegration hole in its like back going to his chest, and like it's just like just all this other stuff, and like Ruby and Ash and them all like, okay, they have to stop her kids. They have to stop this great evil that's happened and all this other stuff. He has to do what he does best. So Ruby has now joined the team. And yeah, that's kind of interesting, which, even though she's evil and she created the book and all this other stuff, I'm happy she joined the team only for one reason and one reason only. It's Lucy Lawless. I'm just so happy to see her back. And her and Bruce Campbell, they don't like miss a beat from the old Xena days when she was Xena and he was Autolycus and stuff, And so it's great to see them back together again. And Ted Raimi joins this season. so as Chet. And so, it's nice to have the gang back, man. He was on Joxer. If only they could have brought back Renee O'Connell, Connor and stuff. Like that would have been even better, man, to have Gabrielle back. But sadly, it didn't happen. For some reason, I've noticed that Renee hasn't rejoined like any of like Rob Tapper or like Sam Raimi's projects since the Xena days and stuff, which is kind of weird and ironic because most people come back after a while and stuff and do like projects with them, either in the movies or like the TV shows or even just like a guest appearance and stuff like that. Because even Michael Hurst came back for a guest appearance on Legend of the Seeker and stuff. And but yeah, I've noticed that a couple of people just haven't came back. Like Kevin Sorbo, like we all know he'll never come back because his relationship is, I guess, strained with them because him and Lucy can't get along, and Lucy is married to Rob and stuff like that. Hudson, like she hasn't been back. Let's see who else: Jennifer Sky, Gina Torres, Victoria Pratt. Like those are like the major. Oh, and then whatever that one lady was named in Jack of All Trades with Bruce Campbell. She hasn't been back, but then she quit acting and stuff. But yeah, everybody else just hasn't been back in a while. I guess they probably just don't want to like fly back over to New Zealand just to fly on back for like a guest appearance or like move back to New Zealand for like half a year to film this stuff and then move back. I guess they don't want to have to do that, because moving to like another country and having to live there and buy a home and film and then come back, that could be a bit of a hassle. Like I know even like the people in America, they get tired of going to Canada for like the CW stuff, because they say like, oh, they missed their home, it's so far, and this and that, and like, But it would be cool to have the whole gang just back to reunite for like something. But it was nice to see part of the gang reunite for this show. And yeah, it's just like it was just a good like premiere opening. There was lots of blood, there was lots of gore, there was lots of action. There was some really cool demon looking things. There was some cool action. There was some nice comedy. And it was comedy that didn't feel forced this time. Like it just fit in perfectly, which was a problem with season one at times. Because season one, sometimes the comedy just didn't fit with what was going on and stuff. But they found the way that blended in like very nicely and stuff. And oh, some things I did leave out. That wasn't that spooky. All right, well, I shall talk to y'all later. Bye.